Hey guys, what's up? It's Kay, and today we'll be looking at the Metal Robot Damashii X-Ka Signature XS Gundam, or Extraordinary Superior Gundam, that came from the Gundam Sentinel photo novel. And this guy just got released back in November, specifically on the 19th of November. Pre-order price was 150 to 170,000. Sorry, 150 US dollars to 170 US dollars. And now he's at that point where, since the demand is really so strong on this one, the price just skyrocketed. So now he cost about as low as 180 US dollars to as high as $250. So yeah, if you see something that's around 170 to 180 US dollars, it's best to get him at that price point. So we're gonna go ahead and start reviewing this guy. So as you guys, most of you guys know already, so we're gonna go ahead and review this guy. So we're gonna start with the accessories first. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna start with the accessories. So we're gonna start with the one of the most complicated ones first. Alright, so the backpack is very articulate. I don't think the fixed figuration and the master grade have this kind of articulation, but anyway, we're gonna go through that. So the tail binder can move up and down. You have to also be careful of the parts scratching against each other, because that will cause the paint to be scratched off. So anyway, the tail binder can move up and down. This is interesting. The beam cannons, the 4 beam cannons, are articulate, so that can move, as you can see. So it can bend. There you go. And then it's on a ball joint, so it will wiggle. So all of those beam cannons will move, and then this can open up. And then once you mount it on the XS, so it can fire the beam cannons like this. So that's really interesting. Other than that, let's close this up. The backpacks alone, or the booster pack itself, can also be removed. As far as I know, this can be removed, but I don't want to try it. But anyway, these things can also move. The thrusters are on a ball joint. There you go. So each of them are on a ball joint, and that is it. Now what's funny here is, if you remove the ball joint, I find this really funny. So let's just remove the beam cannons, and you see the angry face. Oh, and I forgot to clean that, but that's easy. But yeah, there's the angry face. Now that I have shown you this, you can no longer unsee it. Alright, so next we're gonna move on to the beam smart gun. Alright, so for the beam smart gun, this one's also interesting. Let's see, let's just focus on the rifle. There you go. So this thing can be removed. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I honestly don't know. Maybe for the S Gundam that's gonna, or for the S Gundam that's gonna come out, I'm not too sure why it can't be removed. Maybe it's just how they made it. But yeah, it's on a peg connection, I think. So just slot it in, and then for articulation, this is all in one big piece, except for this one. Now this actually extends, revealing more parts, and then this extends again. This is for you to attach it on the skirt, or the front piece, or the crotch piece of the XS, for you to nail certain shots. Alright, so for the first joint, it can rotate, as you can see. It can move up and down. And then for the second joint, it's also on a hinge, so it can go up and down. It can rotate 360, And then the third joint here, it's on a hinge also, but it has a peg. This peg will connect to the crotch piece, so it's also on a hinge, so it can move up and down and it can rotate. So that's 3 joints on the rifle. Alright, next you have 2 fantastic looking beams for the beam saber. Now I honestly don't use beam sabers, but yeah, I'm glad that they added this. So for those people who love beam sabers, something in blue is always nice, because we're always we got used to the very traditional pink beam sabers, so it's always nice if you get something in blue or in green. So there you go. You also have let's see, the incoms. So you get 3 incoms with them wires attached already. So this one is for the head. So this is an activated incom for the head. As you can see, there's 1 incom on his head, and then 2 for the knees. So he has 2 incoms on the knees. So there you go. Now let's see, so this is a straight wire, but they gave you joints. So so each joint, you actually get 6 of these gray pieces here, and this becomes the joint of the wires for the incoms. As far as I know, what the incoms do is that it not only does it fire beams, it also deflects incoming beams. So that's neat. The last accessory is the this one. So this is actually a blue armor piece for the shoulders, because the XS has these fuel tanks, and they can be removed, but then it's really difficult to remove, so I'm not gonna bother removing it. But once you remove this, there's gonna be a hole in there, so you have to seal it. So that's where the blue parts come in. So I'm not gonna bother removing it because I might break it. So let's go ahead and move that back here. All right, so for the hands, you get 1, 2, 3, 5 pairs of hands. So the closed pair of you get 1 pair of fist. You get 1 pair of fist that's already attached on the figure. You have the dynamic open palm hands. You have the relaxed open palm hands. This is mainly for you to do the very epic XS pose. You get the trigger finger hands, and then you also get a pair of beam saber holding hands. He also has a couple of accessories on the main figure, but I'll go ahead and do that on the review for the articulation. And lastly, he has the awesome looking base stand, very similar to the Gundam fixed figuration stands, but this is a lot more. It's actually a step up to the old traditional fixed figuration base stands. The boring stuff is done. Let's go ahead and work on the figure. Alright, so we're going to move on to the articulation, but before I go ahead and do that, I'm just letting you guys know that just like what I do with most of my figures, I added extra detail on my XS here. You're going to notice it in a bit, so I'm just going to bring that up right now. So I added black panel lines on the blue parts. I also added brown panel lines on the darker parts. I added orange on the yellow parts. And then lastly, I added purple panel lines on the white parts. So let's go ahead and start with the articulation. For articulation, let's start with the head. So the head can move up really high up. As you can see, this is good for flight poses. And he can move really far down as well. It can go 360, but I'm not going to go ahead and do that. It can go 360 and it can wiggle around. For the chest, he has a little bit of ab crunch. Well, actually his ab crunch is pretty good, so I like that one. And then let's move it back. For the arms, he has a little butterfly joint here, as you can see. There you go. And then the arm will go 360. And then for the fuel tanks here, this can move side to side, and then it can also go up and down, which is interesting. And then for the arm itself, it has a bicep swivel below the shoulder. There you go. It's pretty hard to move that here. There you go. It's pretty scary. There you go. He has a bicep swivel there, and then he also have a almost double void, almost more than a 90-degree bend on the elbow there. His arm, it's interesting. So it's on a ball joint, so it can wiggle around and it can rotate. And then he also has this forearm or wrist articulation. So as you can see, it's moving up. So there you go. So I like how they added that. So that's gonna add more to dynamic or wild poses that you can do with this thing, which I can show at the end of the video. So what else? So let's move on to the next stuff here. So you have the beam cannons on the sides, so that can detach. Well, not really detach, but it can separate, and then it can move forwards like this, and it's on a hinge, so there you go. So it can retract back to its original position. This thing right here, it actually, you can it's on a peg, so you can remove this. Let's see if it lets me. Alright, so you can remove this, so as you can see, it's on a peg, and then turn it around, revealing a hole or a socket, and this is where you attach the rifle. You can see this is for you to do the excess pose or for mid-air stances. And then let's see here, for the hips, he can move to the right that far to the left, and then it's on a ball joint. It's really tight, but yeah, he can do that. He can wiggle around. For, let's see, for so for the legs, it can go up that far, but that's because the knee armor is blocking things. So let's move that bit, so it can go as high as that, and as you can already see, the knees can go up and down. He doesn't have a thigh swivel, but he has a knee swivel that's very similar to the high grade or the HGUC XS Gundam. So there you go, he has that really nice thigh swivel. Just be careful, it's really tight. For the knees, he just has, as far as I know, a single bend. There you go. It's really scary to move, so he only has a single bend or a 90-degree bend on the knees, but that's really fine because whatever he has going on is really cool. It's something you can really forgive, mainly because the XS has that given bulk already, so you don't really expect him to have a double jointed bend because of the armors that he has, so that's fine. So he has the single bend on the knees, so I'm just gonna retract that back. And then another feature that this guy has is that he has this storage for the beam sabers. Move this, there you go. So he has that storage, and it's on a peg, so you can remove this, and if you have the beam saber holding hand, then just attach it to the hand. So let's just put it back. And then he has the storage for the incom, so this opens up, revealing the incoms, and then you can remove this and then attach this on the knees like so. There you go. Okay, so next up is the ankle armor here. I don't know why this moves, but yep, there you go. I think it's on a ball joint, I think. I can't remember, but this thing moves a little bit. As you can see, it separates and it retracts. Or actually, it retracts and then goes back. For the foot articulation, it's on a ball joint or ball hinge, I think. So it's really tight. So let's do the ankle rockers first. There you go. It can point down really far, so that's good for flight poses, and it can go up that far, so that's nice. For the back skirts, this can open up, not sure why, but you can do that also. And then for the wing binders here, now this is one thing that I didn't like. So it's on a lock system. I wish it was on a sliding system, just like how the fixed figuration XS Gundam had. So for this one, you just have to remove it. There you go. As you can see, there's latches. I'm not sure if I used the right word, but there's latches here, and you can just peg those in on those things. There you go. So if you want it activated, then you can do this. Let's see if I do it right. There you go. So if you want the tail binders activated, you can just remove it and peg it in or lock it in. But I kind of wish it's on a sliding system. That way you can just, you know, pull it out and then push it back in. It's easier that way for me. So anyway, that's the articulation. So for an XS Gundam, or for a bulky unit, he is actually very articulate despite having just a single bend on the knees. I also wanted to add, he has a couple of die-cast joints, and I know some people are interested on that. So as far as I know, and people can correct me on the comment section here, so die-cast parts. So let's begin with the shoulders. So you have a pair of die-cast parts on the shoulders. You have die-cast parts on the chest here, or on the abdomen here. The joint, the ball joint that's on the wrist here, that's also die-cast. And then you have the thighs, or the hip joint here. There's a die-cast part there. The knees are clearly die-cast. You can already see the gloss there. And then let's see, on the foot, yes, it has die-cast on the foot also. There you go. You can clearly see the gloss there. So he has a lot of die-cast parts here. I personally don't like die-cast joints, mainly because it's not really gonna last long. But I guess I was forced to get this figure mainly because I've always wanted an XS figure, and this is the best one that's out right now. I had the fixed figuration XS, but it wasn't that articulate. Aside from that, it wasn't size accurate, so it was a little bit smaller than the high grade XS Gundam. So this one's very accurate to its size, and it's very articulate. So this is the best one for now. So let's go ahead and attach all the accessories and do a little bit of comparisons also. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, once the AGP, or the Armored Girls Project S Gundam comes out, I'm pretty sure it's gonna have option parts for the XS to become the S Gundam, which is the downgrade or the base form of the XS Gundam. So the reason why I found this out is mainly because this piece comes out. Okay, it's on a peg connection, and then the crotch piece comes out. So why would they do that? And then another one is let's see, let me just remove this. Another one is these things, they come out. There you go. So you know they have something planned for this guy. So it's either the option parts for the XS to become the S Gundam is going to be on the AGP S Gundam that's going to be coming out, or they're going to release a different option parts for the XS Gundam. This is another one that I noticed. The beam cannons on the side skirt is also removable, so something is going to be attached on there, I'm pretty sure. And then I also forgot to mention this thing can go side to side, and there's another handle here that reveals, or there's a little socket there. Not really a socket, but there's a part there that you can pull out, revealing another handle. All right, there you go. Oh, and I also wanted to add that the shoulder armor can actually collapse, revealing a little bit of the frame here. There you go. I think this is when the Alice system is activated, or if he's in flight mode or something. But yeah, so those can collapse, revealing a little bit of the inner frame on the shoulders there. So that's really interesting. I like that feature. So let's just go ahead and close that. Also, I forgot to mention this. The tail binders here, or the wing binder, it's on a hinge, so you can do that, and then this can rotate, and this can rotate also. It's on a peg. My bad. All right, so there you go. This is one of the things I like with the metal robot Damashii XS Gundam, the fact that it can stand with all that accessories and with all that weight on its back. It can still stand on its own. The fixed figuration cannot do this, the master grade cannot do this, but this figure can actually do it. So that's a really big plus for me. And let's see, so for size comparisons, so he stands about well, on the top of his wing binder, he's about 7 inches tall, but he's just 5.5, maybe 6 inches tall if we do it on the head. There you go. So yeah, so he's on the bigger side of things. So let's compare it with other figures that you might recognize. Here is the SEM EX RX 782 compared to the XS Gundam. There you go. So he's really small. And then let's do a pretty tall unit here. This is my Super HCM Pro Unicorn Gundam. Oh shit! There you go. So this is my Super HCM Pro Unicorn Gundam. So they're almost the same height, but he's still bigger because of that bulk. And then let's remove these two. Alright, so here it is with the KAZ signature full armor Gundam Mark II. So he is still small. Let's do a very familiar unit again. Actually, this is one of his predecessor units. This is the Zeta Gundam. So yep, still small. But if you have been collecting Robot Damashii figures, you already know that the best looking figure that will really look good with the XS Gundam is this guy. Let me just fix his stance here. Alright, so here it is. Here's the KAZ signature Gundam Mark V. So they look really good together as they are rivals. So this one is piloted by Brave Cod, while this guy is piloted by Ryu Roots. So yes, I can't wait for these Seku Suai or Ein that's gonna be coming out soon. But yeah, that is it. So let's go ahead, since we're done with the size comparison, let's go ahead and move on with my thoughts and opinions, and of course the verdict for this figure. Alright, so alright, final thoughts on this figure. I think this is a very awesome figure. I mean, the only thing that's really, like, it made me hesitant was the price. So it's a very pricey figure, and flaws of this figure will mainly be the lack of panel lines. So if you want to make it look better, you actually have to add panel lines. I'm not really sure if it's visible, but I added orange lining on the chest here. All right, you will see it once I do the pictures. But yes, I added purple lines on the figure. See, you can see the purple there. Orange lining on the yellow parts, and a couple of black ink on the blue parts. So there you go, let's place it here. So yes, articulation is really nice despite the knees having a single bend. The die-cast joints is good. I mean, I personally don't like the die-cast joints, but for people who likes collecting die-cast figures, I think this is a good addition to their collection. I also like the fact that that it can stand on its own without the help of soul stages or any base stands. So that's really a plus for me. It's very articulate. This is actually the most articulate XS figure or XS kit that's out there on the market right now. It's way better than the master grade. The only downside is that it cannot transform into the G Cruiser, which is perfectly fine. I mean, most transformation gimmicks will ruin the figure. So this guy can really do some awesome posing, mainly because the transformation gimmick is not there. Let's see what else. Another downside on this figure that I've noticed when I got the figure was paint scratches. So you actually need to be extra careful on parts hitting or scratching off, rubbing against a different part. So that will cause paint scratches on the figure. And that is it. So overall, I think I will give this figure a 5 out of 5. Well, no. Let's give it a 10 out of 5. This is the best figure out there for this year, and it's just really the price point that's heavy. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on the comment section below. Hit that like button, and if you enjoy this, you better subscribe, and I'll definitely appreciate it. So I'll see you guys on my next review, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I'm really sorry I haven't been uploading more reviews. I've just been really busy, but I'll definitely get a couple more out as soon as I get free time. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye bye.